welcome back to Deeper in Spirit, Softening for Strength. In the English language, we typically hear, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." From an Aramaic perspective, it says, "Tu ve'un litmakike, dehenon nertun ar ah." Tu ve'un litmakike, dehenon nertun ar ah. This word meek, a lot of confusion around this term, and inheriting the earth is also confusing for many people. And we get a great deal more clarity by looking at it from an Aramaic perspective. One could see how the translation of meek or meekness came to be. However, there's so much more going on here, as with all of the Aramaic language. This word, litmakike, is about the softening of the heart. You know, we spend a lot of time in life creating these boxes and building walls so that I have these nice, neat compartments of my life. We find pain, we find fear, we find anger, and we build a wall so I don't have to have those experiences, and more importantly, have those feelings anymore. Those parts of my being I have pushed aside, and I'm no longer allowing those things in my life. I have built a wall, and it needs to be softened. Those places that have become rigid for me, I'm not going to allow that, is the typical expression. I'm not doing that. I don't want that. I don't have that. It's the I don'ts to life where you can typically find these things. We become rigid in our hearts. We become rigid in our minds. And this word, litmakike, is a word that gets us to that place of softening. Like in the last beatitude, the next word, dehenon, says that when this softening is occurring, around these places that I have identified through Lawale, as the softening is occurring, something else is also going on at the same time. And that is nertun ar ah. Nertun is the receiving of strength. So this softening actually causes a strengthening of the being. It creates a resolve in the being to be able to take back and receive back those things that I have pushed aside. I'm softening those points of rigidity. I'm softening those walls that I built, beginning to break them down. And the promise is, when I touch those places and I begin to soften them, that I receive strength. And I receive that strength so that I can bring this being out into the world, unafraid. I can bring this out into the world. I can begin to manifest out in the world with this self that I was really meant to be, now unfettered. So the breaking down of these walls is really an important part. The softening for strength is really an important part. And the cool thing is that this strength, this nertun, is not about willpower. And it's nothing that I muster up inside. It's something that's being mustered up inside of me. It is of the vibration, light, sound, energy of the divine, of God. Nertun. So I'm softening and I'm receiving that strength. It's being delivered inside. Now I can continue on with the process of recreation. And I'm doing that right here on this earth. This ah. We used this word before, typically translated as earth, but it's not about inheritance. It's about moving in the world as that whole human being. A lot of times when we soften, we might tend to go too far the other way. We might tend to pull down boundaries that are good, healthy boundaries amongst humans and animals and so on. If I have a fear of snakes, it doesn't necessarily help me if I now begin to think that I can go up and pet snakes. So I'm creating a healthy balance of those things that have informed me in life and yet not controlled who I am. It's finding these things in balance, completing the human being. It's all in balance. Everything as an equal part in the being, which I can draw from based on life's experiences, instead of saying, I don't have that anymore as a tool, I don't have that, I don't have that. But now I have everything as a tool. These parts that I pushed aside is now available to me, or becoming available to me. We're not done yet. We're on the third. Tuveun lepmakike, dihanon nertun ar ah. Say it with me. Tuveun lepmakike, dihanon nertun ar ah.